Hello everybody, here we are today talking about the Vegas Golden Knights, if they're going to win another division title, and if it even matters to them. So before we get started with that, please make sure to subscribe if you're new to me, or hockey, whatever the case may be. That being said, let's get on into it. So Vegas has been a team that has done really well in the regular season, in the playoffs before in their franchise history, and all of this stems from them winning the division title. I'm not saying that has translated all the way, but it's been something that I could say that we could build off of. We're a good regular season side as they've claimed 4 division titles, maybe on their way to winning number 5 this year, and about, getting to the stage of halfway through the season. Let's take a look at this and see how things are going for them. Now, are they a lock at this stage of the year? I'm going to say no, as teams like the Los Angeles Kings are really posing a threat to them, as well as the Edmonton Oilers. Now, LA might be a little bit more of an unexpected threat, but here they are at this stage of the year, and they are within striking distance. They are a group that I feel like is pretty motivated as well, for a couple of reasons. Primary reason number one, I think this group is really looking to say that they've been able to achieve something that they can say is worthy of hanging a banner. They have been able to make the playoffs 3 years in a row, but have been knocked out in the first round by the Edmonton Oilers all 3 years. And I know some of these players were part of the Stanley Cup wins that they had before on Kopitar and Drew Doughty, but this group in particular, a lot of them probably are looking for more. And I'm not talking about more than a Stanley Cup win, but more than what they've already done at this stage of their careers. So this is something you could really say is kind of driving them to try to get over the hump and maybe get a little bit of a run coming playoff time. Then on top of that too, they haven't won the division title since 1991, so that would kind of be another thing fun to do for them, something that even though they were to win multiple Stanley Cups, they haven't really done in terms of division title in over 30 years. Although a Stanley Cup, of course, trumps a division title any day. Now, as for the Edmonton Oilers, which we talked about here earlier in the video, they're a team that also pose a pretty big threat. They started off the year relatively slow, but have won 8 out of their past 10 games, and are a side that are dangerous. Made the Stanley Cup final last year, a regular playoff team, have guys that are in contention for the Rocket, like Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid. On top of that too, I'd imagine they're probably pretty hungry after a Stanley Cup final loss, and then just hearing a lot of the drama that kicked off the year, even though it didn't really need to be that dramatic. A team like Edmonton's going to get a lot of that negative media coverage. But anyway, they're in a good spot at the moment, and then also they have kind of that motivation like the Los Angeles Kings to go out there and claim a division title. They haven't won one since 1987, which I know for a fact is the longest drought of any team in the league in terms of winning a division title. So that would be cool. Even though they ended up winning 2 Stanley Cups after that, I do believe, in 88 and then 90. But to maybe have a year where you win the division title, get that off your back, and then win a Stanley Cup would be cool as well. I'm not saying that Edmonton will necessarily go out there and do it, but like LA, could pose a serious threat to the Golden Knights going out there and claiming yet again another division title. Now, for Vegas's part, are they a team that looks like they'll, fall from their pedestal? The answer is maybe, but I still think they're in a pretty good spot right now. They're 5th in the league for goals for per 60 and have been able to score at an above average rate at 5-on-5. Ivan Barbashev has been kind of part of that, as he leads the team with 12 goals at full strength and is a player that could have a big year, career year this season. He's also a guy that looks like he'll probably pass his goal mark relatively soon. He's got 15 goals on the season. Last year at 19. It's kind of helping lead this team along the way. Jack Eichel, again, another contributor here. And this is also a side that can score goals. They had a stretch where they had 24 goals in a 4-game span. I believe they won all 4 of those. That was more towards October. I will say, after being 5th in the league for goals for per 60, since November 1st, I think they are 20th in the league, so the goal scoring has dried off a little bit, and that's something I'm kind of worried about here. But they've won 5 of their past 6 games and are still, again, at the top of the division at the moment. So you say that it's not really the end-all be-all as long as they're winning games. And they do have games where they score, maybe 4 goals here or something like that. So again, it's not the end of the world. Now, the real question is, for a team that won the Stanley Cup as recently as 2023, would it even matter to win a division title? And in my opinion, I do think it really would matter for this organization for, we'll say, 3 reasons. And again, there probably could be more even added on to this. Number one, I think that last year did not go the way that they expected or hoped, as they finished 4th in the division and ended up getting knocked out in the first round. Now, the bar for Vegas is really high compared to a lot of other teams in the league, and not winning your division seems like something you say, well, it happens. But for Vegas, more often than not, they go out there and claim the top spot in the Pacific. So probably had to be weird to be middle of the pack in that category, and then also an early playoff exit. They want to get back to reestablishing themselves to the high goals that they have and say, this is just the norm for us. We go out there and we smoke the rest of the competition, and we have home ice advantage, especially with a lot of these teams that we could face in the division. So that is one of those reasons. The second reason is this is just something to add to the resume and something that they build off of. They kind of have prided themselves for achieving a lot in not a long time, and that is totally understandable. It has been involving division titles, conference championships, winning the Stanley Cup, as well as team success like the Jennings, Vezina, Jack Adams, GM of the Year. A lot of these things that have been going their way have been going their way for a while, and it has come in a variety of ways for this team. They would love to go out there and again claim that 5th division title. And then the third thing is it's not really just a division title for them. I think this is one of those deals where they had a lot of doubts entering the year, and if they're able to go out there and claim the top spot in the division, puts themselves in a great spot to go trophy hunting, which is really what it's all about for them. They, of course, are really only concerned about a couple, primarily being the Stanley Cup, but you have a possibly easier path to the Stanley Cup final or the Stanley Cup, and then also you have got this added fuel of reestablishing the norm. It really sets themselves up well to possibly go on a third trip to the Stanley Cup final, even though, again, it looks like it might be a little bit harder for them, but a lot of transition in net for them. This is a year where the roster, especially the forward group, you're a little bit worried about, and again, I know they are kind of falling a little bit in the goal scoring category, but to be top of the division and then get a little bit of a run going, maybe they can say, we are Vegas. We are just a team that expects to go on these deep runs. We can set aside some of that noise and figure it out a little bit later. And who really cares if you kind of have a weird year where, you're not a top goal scoring side, but you go on and win another championship? That would be their second in 3 years and would also be really impressive. Now, if they don't go out there and win it, I don't think it's the end-all be-all, but I do think this would go a long way into the organization saying, well, we are still a top-tier organization. I really am just hoping that at the end of all this, we have kind of a 3 or 4 team race for the division title. Let's be real, maybe just a 3-team division race here, but either way, you have Vegas saying, again, we are good, or you have an alternate scenario where LA wins their first division title since 1991, or Edmonton goes out there and wins their first division title since 1987, which I think would be good storylines as well. And even if it is Vegas, I really just hope it goes down to the wire, maybe the last couple of games, and that is really what you'd like to see here. Close division races where some of these teams will meet again in the playoffs. I really almost would enjoy LA and Edmonton for a 4th straight year just for the comedic aspect, but I don't know if the Kings fan base would be able to handle possibly another early loss. But I'm going to be honest, I think LA could possibly go out there and claim this division title. So with that all being said, I think the Golden Knights are still in a position where they could win this division, and I think this would really be something that is minor to a lot of people, but I do think is actually a big deal for this organization because of a lot of the things about, how many runs can you get out of this team, even though you constantly are trying to tweak the lineup and see what will be best for you. And that is going to be something that's really interesting to see because, maybe next year if they drop to 4th again or say 5th, even though I don't really think it's going to be likely within 1 year, you start to wonder about, well, what do they want to do long term? When would Vegas decide we need to do a retool or rebuild? You win your division, you don't really have to worry about that. So anyway, what are your thoughts on this already? Do you think Vegas has won their division, even though the gap is still pretty small? Or do you think that the teams like LA, Edmonton, Vancouver could go out there and claim the division title? Let me know down below in the comments. Also, please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Everybody stay safe. Hey, have a great night. And you go love hockey, all right. Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.